Magandang buhay sa ating lahat. Welcome to my YouTube channel, mga masugid kong taga-subaybay. Alam nyo ba na may isa pang paraan ang pag-solve at pagkuha ng solution set of irrational inequalities? Sa nauna kong video ay tinalakay at ipinakita ko ang step-by-step process of solving rational inequalities na ang pangunahing ginamit ay ang number line para magkaroon ng intervals for testing sa kanyo lang makuha ang solution set of irrational inequalities. Subalit sa video na ito, ipapakita at tatalakayin ko sa inyo kung paano makukuha ang solution set na walang gamit na number line. Ito ang pinakamabilis na paraan ng pagkuha ng solution set of solving irrational inequalities, lalo na kung ang single fraction and left-hand side of the inequality has a degree of 1, both numerator and denominator. Okay, simulan na natin. Ito ang paksa, in English, the fastest and easiest technique of solving rational inequality by yours truly, Nald Albuera. Please subscribe! Bago niyan, so ibibigay ko muna sa inyo ang general steps in solving inequalities. First, always make the left-hand side of the inequality as a single fraction and the right-hand side of the inequality as 0. So, ang ibig sabihin, sa left side dapat isa na lang na fraction. At sa kabila ng inequality sign ay dapat 0. Next, determine the cases for the numerator and denominator with the given inequality. Since hindi tayo gagamit ng number line, meron akong tatlong cases na ibibigay sa inyo pagkatapos nitong general steps at yun ang susundin natin. Madali lang naman ang mga cases nito as positive or negative lang naman ang pangunahing sign na gagamitin natin sa numerator at denominator. Another is, the next step, solve for the cases na dinetermine nyo sa step 2 and you will get the intersection. Okay. Sa mga nauna kong video ay itinalakay ko ang pagkakaiba ng intersection sa union. Doon ko ito inalagay sa different ways of expressing the solution set of rational inequality. Subalit, ipaalaala ko sa inyo na pag sinabing intersection as one of the operation in an inequality is kinukuha lang po nito ang common element. For instance, meron tayong x is less than 5 and x is less than 0. So the common element is x is less than 0. Kasi yung less than 5 ay hindi common doon sa less than 0 yung 4, 3, 2, 1. But then yung less than 0, nandoon na yung negative 1, negative 2, negative 3 sa less than 5. Therefore, the intersection of the two sets which is x is less than 0 and x is less than 5 is x is less than 0. After this step is, you are now ready to write the solution set as the union of the intersection that you had done in step 3. Pag sinabing union is enumerating or getting all the elements. Okay, for instance, we have x is less than 5 and x is less than 0. So the union of the two set is x is less than 5. Kasi nga, yung wala sa x is less than 0, yung 4, 3, 2, 1, dapat i-unite pa rin yan. May ibig sabihin, dapat i-add pa rin yan doon to combine as one set. So, lahat dapat ay isusulat. Okay? Hindi lang yung common. Okay. Let's proceed to the three main cases. First one that you are going to remember is that if the numerator represented by A over the denominator represented by B, this is the single fraction of an inequality, okay? And the left side, okay, is greater than 0, then A and B have the same sign. Ang ibig sabihin, if the inequality is greater than, we will assume that the numerator is positive or the denominator is also positive, or numerator is negative and the denominator is also negative. Yan ang ibig sabihin nito. The second one is, if A over B is equal to 0, then A is equal to 0. Only the numerator, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. It's undefined. But then we are in inequality. So, itong equal ay nakasabay na doon sa inequality notation. It's either is greater than or equal, is less than or equal. Okay, so pwede na natin ito pagsamahin na dalawa. And the last is, if the numerator over the denominator is less than 0, then A and B have unlike sign. It's either the numerator is positive or the denominator is negative, or the denominator is positive while the numerator is negative. Now take note that this topic that I'm going to discuss today is only advisable for having a degree of 1 in numerator and denominator of the left-hand side of the given fraction, single fraction, and the right-hand side is 0 already. Okay. Hindi siya advisable kung maraming factors ang numerator or denominator, or the degree of the numerator is greater than 1 or the degree of the denominator is greater than 1. Kasi marami siyang combinations of the signs. Okay, let's proceed to solving rational inequalities. The first example as fast technique. Now, if you notice, x plus 2 over x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0 is already in one single fraction in the left and 0 in the right of the inequality. So you're done. That's the first step. Pag hindi single ang fraction in the left, gawin mo siya, isi-simplify mo siya na dapat only single fraction in the left and 0 in the right of the inequalities. Okay. So what will you do next is to apply the cases. Remember, the inequality is less than. It means that we have two cases. It's either the numerator is positive, denominator negative, or the numerator is negative and the denominator is positive. That's the two cases. We apply case 1. Suppose the numerator is positive, so we will use greater than inequality, and we include the equality sign. While the denominator, we will not include the equality sign because the denominator is not equal to 0. That's from definition. If the given inequality has equality sign, so we will use that only for numerator. So let's find now the first case. Because the given inequality is less than, so ibig sabihin, it's unlike sign for numerator and denominator. The first case is positive numerator and negative denominator. Ang gagawin natin ay x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 0, while the denominator is x minus 3 is less than 0. Hindi na ninyo isama dito ang equal kasi nga hindi pwede maging 0 ang nasa denominator. Then, ang gagawin nyo lang is solve for x. When we solve for x, for the numerator, you will transpose positive 2 to the other side, it became negative 2. While for the denominator, when you transpose to the other side, it became positive 3. What's your next step? Is to determine the intersection of this. Later, I'm going to write the intersection. Let's proceed first to the case 2. The case 2 is the opposite. The numerator is negative, while the denominator is positive. So we have Pag negative is less than ang gagamitin, pag positive is greater than ang gagamitin. That is why x plus 2 is less than or equal to 0 and the denominator is x minus 3 is greater than 0. Bakit sa numerator naglagay tayo ng equal? Because the original given inequality has an equality sign. Is less than or equal. Therefore, ang numerator is true kahit equal 0. We solve for x, the same. X is less than or equal to negative 2, and the denominator is x is greater than 3. So that's the step 2. We're done for the step 1. Step 1 is make the left-hand side of the inequality as single fraction and the right-hand side as 0. That's the step 1. Step 2, determine the cases. For less than, we have 2. Positive, negative, negative, positive. While for greater than, we have also 2. The same positive or the same negative. Step 3 is get the intersection of every case. Every case is here. Every case niya, for case 1, ang intersection niya, x daw is greater than or equal to negative 2. Pag greater yan, dadaan dito yan sa 3. Greater than or equal to negative 2, negative, going to the right, dadaan siya sa 3. And the denominator's x is less than 3. So, galing sa 3, going to the left. So, masabatan yung dalawa. Magkocross yung dalawa solution. So, meaning, the intersection is in between of this inequality. So, our intersection of this is half interval from negative 2 to 3. Okay? Dadaan siya sa negative 2. Yung x is greater than or equal to negative 2 ay may negative 2 siya, may negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While the other one, x is less than 3. Less than 3 is, halimbawa, elements natin ay integer. So we have 2, then we have 1, we have 0, we have negative 1, negative 2. So dumaan din siya. Bakit we use a bracket sa negative 2? Kasi may equal. Okay? May equal siya. For the case 2, walang intersection. Bakit? X is greater than 3. Nasa right siya. X is greater than 3 going to the right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. While the other one, x is less than or equal to negative 2 going to the left. So wala silang intersection. Wala silang intersection, so wala silang solution dito. That's the step 3. And the step 4 is writing the final solution set of the given inequality, which is interval from half-closed interval from negative 2 to 3. Remember, meron akong video na pinost dito sa YouTube, yung mga different ways of writing solution set of an inequality. The first one is by interval notation. Ito na yung tinatawag na interval notation. Half interval from negative 2 to 3. Half closed interval from negative 2 to 3. In set notation or set builder notation, paano itong from negative 2 to 3 na solution wherein negative 2 is included? So we can use this. X is less than 3, but greater than or equal to negative 2. That's the solution. Okay. So, ganun lang. Hindi tayo gumamit ng number line. Tingnan natin sa example number 2. Suppose the given we have 2x minus 5 all over x minus 5, which is greater than 3. Our first step is to make the left-hand side a single fraction and the right-hand side as 0. So, anong gagawin natin ay ililipat itong 3 sa kabila, magiging minus 3 is greater than 0. Nandito. And we make this a single fraction. Our LCD is x minus 5. So, x minus 5 divide x minus 5 is 1 times 2x minus 5 is 2x minus 5. Pag wala po siyang denominator, you multiply this denominator to numerator. Okay? To make it a common or similar fraction. So, x minus 5 divide 1 is x minus 5 times negative 3. So we have negative 3 times the quantity of x minus 1. And then, simplify. So 2x minus 5, distribute negative 3 times x is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. We simplify all with x. So 2x magiging negative 3x. So unlike sign you subtract, that's negative x. Then negative 5, negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Unlike sign you subtract, it's positive 10. You cap only the denominator. So, ito na yung step 1. Tapos ka na. First step, dapat single fraction ang sa left at ang nasa right ay 0. Now, take note, the inequality notation is greater than. Therefore, our cases, the same positive or the same negative. So, we have for our case 1, the same positive. Okay, so 2x minus 5 is greater than 0. Negative x plus 10. Ito na po ang kukunin natin ha. Kasi ito na yung single fraction. Hindi po yung original. So we have negative x plus 10 is greater than 0. While the denominator x minus 5 is greater than 0. We solve for x. When we transpose 10 to the other side, became negative 10. But then you need to divide both sides by negative 1. In inequality, when you divide or multiply negative, always change the direction of the relation symbol. That's only in multiplication and division. When you multiply both sides by negative or negative, okay, multiply or divide by negative, you will change the direction of the relation symbol. So therefore here, when you transpose positive 10 became negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 1, change the direction of the inequality, magiging less than. So x therefore is less than 10. While the other, when you transpose negative 5 is positive 5. Hindi naman tayo nag-divide or multiply, so do not change the relation symbol. For case 2, the same negative, okay? Bakit the same negative or the same positive? When the original relation symbol is greater than. Okay? Pag less than, alternate. Okay, so here, greater than, so meaning negative time divide negative is positive. So we have 2x minus negative x plus 10 is less than 0 and x minus 5 is less than 0. Then we solve for x, transpose negative 10 and 10 maging negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 1, x is greater than 10. Transpose negative 5, x is less than 5. Get the intersection. The intersection of x is less than 10 and x is greater than 10. X is less than 10 going to the left. X is greater than 10 going to the right. So may common siya in between 5 and 10. That is why we have the intersection open interval from 5 to 10. While open, why open? Kasi walang equal. For case 2, x is less than 5 going to the left. X is greater than 10 going to the right. So wala silang common. That is why none. The solution set of the given inequality is only an open interval from 5 to 10. Or, in set notation, x is less than 10 but greater than 5. Kung mahirap sa inyo ito na hindi kayo gumagamit ng number line, so you apply still the step-by-step process. Okay? Meron akong video niyan. Kasi ito na ang pinakamabilis na solution on how to get the solution set of a rational inequality. Okay, ngayon lang kasi nanibago kayo kaya para sa inyo parang mahirap pa siya. Tingnan natin. Okay. Suppose the given is 3 over x minus 2 is less than 2x plus 1 all over x minus 2. Okay. Now, the first step is make the left-hand side of the inequality a single fraction and the right-hand side as 0. So, hindi pa siya 0. So, we transpose this to x plus 1 to the other side, maging negative. And similar fraction, so you copy the denominator and subtract the numerator. So remember, this is 3 minus ito, so mag-change ng sign yung 2x at mag-change ng sign yung positive 1, maging negative 1. And simplify, negative 2x, then 3 minus 1 is 2. This is now the new inequality at ito yung gagamitin natin. Now, for case 1, the inequality is less than the same, positive, negative for case 1. For case 2 is negative, positive. Okay, so we treat negative 2x plus 2 is greater than 0 kasi positive. Then x minus 2 is less than 0 for the denominator. Solve for x. Okay, so negative 2x is greater than negative 2. Nag-divide naman tayo ng negative, mag-change siya ng relation symbol. X is less than positive 1. While this, when you transpose negative 2, magiging positive 2. X is less than 2. For case 2, negative yung numerator, positive yung denominator. So we have negative 2x plus 2 is less than 0. Transpose positive 2 maging negative 2. Divide both side by negative. Mag-change ng relation symbol. Magiging is greater than. X is greater than 1. While the denominator is x is greater than 2. What is the intersection for case 1? The intersection for case 1 is x is less than 1. Why? We have x is less than 2. X is less than 1. Oh, nandito yung x is less than 1 to the left. And x is less than 2 to the left also. So, dadaanan niya yung x is less than 1. So, therefore, ang common ay x is less than 1. While for case 2, x is greater than 2 and x is greater than 1. So, nasa unahan yung greater than 2 kaysa sa greater than 1. Yung greater than 1, dadaanan niya yung greater than 2. So, ang intersection niya ay greater than 2. Therefore, getting the solution set is to unite. Get the union of these two. So, we have, x is less than 1, meaning, or x is greater than 2 as a set notation, while in interval notation is from negative infinity to 1. That's the meaning of x is less than 1. Union from 2 to positive infinity. Yan ang meaning ng x is greater than 2. Yun na po ang sagot. Or you can copy this to inequality. You just write or the symbol of union using the set notation. Okay. So, another example. Okay, pang-apat na itong example. Suppose we have 2x plus 6 over x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. Single na po siya. So, tapos na yung first step. Second step is greater than, meaning we have two cases. The same positive or the same negative. For case 1, we have 2x plus 6 is greater than or equal to 0, while the denominator x minus 3 is greater than 0. You are just solving for x, for numerator and denominator. X, therefore, transposing positive 6 became negative 6. Divide 2 is negative 3, while this, transpose negative 3, became positive 3. For case 2, numerator and denominator the same negative, meaning less than ang gagamitin. 2x plus 6 is less than or equal to 0. Denominator is x minus 3 is less than 0. Solving for x, so x is less than or equal to negative 3, while the denominator is x is less than 3. Getting the intersection for the cases. For case 1, okay, sabi dito, x is greater than or equal to negative 3. X is greater than or equal to negative 3. X is greater than 3. So, ano ang common? Ang common ay x is greater than 3. While for case 2, x is less than or equal to negative 3. X is less than 3. So, ang common ay x is less than or equal to negative 3. Okay? So, this one yung common. Less than negative 3 ang common. So, therefore, our intersection is that, so we have x is less than or equal to negative 3 or x is greater than 3. In interval notation, we have from negative infinity to negative 3. Union from 3 to positive infinity. Okay, so I'll give you another example. Suppose we have x plus 1 over x minus 3 is less than 3. Your first step, single fraction in the left. Hindi siya single fraction, so we simplify. We transpose 3 to the other side, became negative 3. And then we make this as a single. So x minus 3 divide x minus 3 is 1. Times x plus 1 is x plus 1. X minus 3 times negative 3. So negative 3x, then positive 9. So we have now negative 2x plus 10 over x minus 3 is less than 0. Now, since this is less than, our case 1, positive, negative. Our case 2, negative, positive. Kasi less than an inequality. So, gagamitin natin ito. Negative 2x plus 10 is greater than 0. X minus 3 is less than 0. Solving for x is less than 5. Bakit less than? Nag-divide ka both side by negative 2, so magiging less than. While here, hindi naman. For case 2, negative, positive, we have negative 2x plus 10 less than. Pag negative, less than. Pag positive, greater than. So we have, magdi-divide ng negative to both side, mag-change ang relation symbol, magiging x is greater than 5, while here, x is greater than 3. Getting the intersection for case 1 is x is less than 3. Bakit? X is less than 5, x is less than 3, yung 5 dadaan sa 3. So, ang common ay x less than 3. Kasi hindi dito dadaan ang 5 sa 3. Okay. So, for case 2, x is greater than 5 ang common. Kasi the intersection between x is greater than 5 and x is greater than 3 is greater than 5. Itong greater than 3, dadaan siya sa 5. So, common yung 5. And get the union. So, x is less than 3 or x is greater than 5. That's in set notation. While in interval notation is from negative infinity to 3, union 5 to positive infinity. Another example is, suppose we have here 3 over x minus 4 is greater than or equal to x over 3x minus 12 minus 1. Make the left side of the inequality a single fraction and the right as a 0. So we simplify, transposing x over 3x minus 12 minus 1 to the other side, maging negative, maging positive ang 1. Then changing this to similar fraction. Yung 3x minus 12 can be factored as 3 times the quantity of x minus 4. So the LCD is 3 times x minus 4. Dividing this to the first denominator, we cancel x minus 3, x minus 4. Ang natira ay 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Dividing this to the second denominator, walang natira, meaning 1, times negative x to negative x. While ang 1, walang denominator, meaning we will multiply this denominator to 1. So, magiging 1 times 3x, 1 times negative 12. Now, simplifying, so we have 9 minus 12 is negative 3. Negative x plus 3x is positive 2x. Yung denominator, hindi na natin i-factored form kasi isa lang naman siya, linear, so 3x minus 12 para mas madali pagkuha ng value ng x. Now, the inequality is less than, meaning our case 1 unlike sign, our case 2 is also unlike sign. Okay, positive numerator, negative denominator. So, 2x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. 3x minus 12 is less than 0. Solving for x is greater than or equal to 3 halves, while the denominator x is less than 4. For case 2, baliktad. Yung numerator naman negative, denominator ay positive. So, we have 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 0, while the denominator is 3x minus 12 is greater than 0. Transposing negative 3, we have x is less than or equal to 3 halves. While here, x is greater than 4. And what is the intersection? For the first case, the intersection is from this, from 3 halves to 4. So this is a half interval from 3 halves to 4. While here, none. Walang intersection. Greater than 4, less than 3 halves, so hindi siya. Pero kung ang less than 4 dito, dito yung 3 halves meron. Kagaya dito. Less than 4, but greater than 3 halves. So may intersection siya, yung in between. Therefore, the solution set is half closed interval from 3 halves 4, that's by interval notation, or the set of all x such that x is less than 4, but greater than or equal to 3 halves. Another, halimbawa, walang variable sa numerator. We have 4 over 3x plus 6 is greater than 0. How to solve this? Since our left-hand side is already a single fraction and the right side is 0, we have only here case 1. Why case? Only one case. Kasi this is greater than, pag greater than baga, dapat pareho ang sign. Parehong positive numerator and denominator or parehong negative ang numerator and denominator. But then, ang numerator natin ay constant number which is 4 and the sign is positive. So therefore, yung positive sign na lang ang gagamitin natin sa denominator, hindi na yung negative. That is why we have only one case. Okay? Denominator is positive because the numerator is positive. So we just solve 3x plus 6 is greater than 0. Transpose 6, negative 6. Divide 3 is negative 2. And this is already the answer. Because we don't have case number 2. Hindi naman pwede yung for gawin nating negative, positive nga. Diba? So therefore, that's the answer. That's the intersection and that's the answer. X is greater than negative 2. In interval notation, from negative 2 to infinity, open interval, or in set notation, x such that x is greater than negative 2. Another. Halimbawa, less than naman tayo. Less than ha? But then the numerator is constant. Same, single fraction na yung left natin. So, pag less than ang inequality, ang gagamitin natin ay alternate ang sign. Meaning, positive sa taas, negative sa baba. Or, negative sa taas, positive sa baba. But in this case, positive nang sa taas. So, the only possible na sign ng denominator ay negative to make it less than as a case. Right? So, positive sa taas, negative na ang gagamitin natin sa baba. So, less than symbol ang gagamitin natin. Isang case lang. Okay? So, 2x minus 1 is less than 0. Solve for x, transpose negative 1 to the other side, magiging positive 1 divided by 2. So, x is less than 1 half. That's already the answer because there is no case 2. Given na kasi yung numerator na positive. So, the only possible ay yung denominator ay maging negative. So, no case 2. And that's the answer by set notation, x is less than 1 half, or in interval notation, since less than, meaning nasa left ang infinity. So, negative infinity to 1 half, open interval. Okay. I'll give you an example of more than one factor as a single fraction. It means hindi siya degree 1 yung numerator. Alam niyo ba, ang sinosolve natin from example 1 to 8, lahat siya degree 1 ang numerator or less than. Ang 3, ang degree niya 0. So, best solution siya for degree 0 and degree 1. How about kung degree 2 na siya? Meaning, dalawang factors na, meaning ang exponent, highest exponent ng variable ay 2. I'll give you only one. Okay? So, suppose we have here 2 over 3 minus x is greater than or equal to 3 over x plus 2. Now, make the left-hand side of the equation a single fraction and the right-hand side as 0. This is not a single fraction, so we will transpose 3 over x plus 2 to the left, maging negative. And take note that the denominator ay hindi similar. So the product of the denominator is the LCD. Our LCD is 3 minus x times x plus 2. Divide the new denominator. Sa first numerator, we cancel 3 minus x. Ang natira ay x plus 2. Yun ang i-multiply sa numerator. That is why we have 2 times the quantity of x plus 2. Divide the denominator to the second denominator. We cancel x plus 2. Ang natira 3 minus x. Yan ang i-multiply doon sa negative 3. So we have negative 3 times the quantity of 3 minus x. Kopyahin is greater than or equal to 0. Simplify the numerator. 2x. Negative 3 times negative x is positive 3x. Plus 2x is 5x. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. Kopyahin lang po ang denominator in factored form kasi po dalawa ang variable. So we need to solve for the value of x. So naka-factored form lang. Now, ang inequality ay greater than. Therefore, pag greater than, dapat ang taas at baba ay parehong positive or parehong negative. But then there is a case for a negative. Dalawa lang na negative na minultiply ay maging positive. Sa ngayon, tatlo na po. Dalawang factors ang denominator, isang factor ang numerator. Kung lahat natin yan gawing negative, negative divide negative is positive, times negative is negative. So, hindi na siya tama. Kaya, meron tayong another case for multiplying the same or dividing negative. Ang case 1 natin muna ay lahat siya positive. The numerator is positive, the denominator is positive. So, we have 5x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 0. Ang denominator wala nang equal kasi hindi pwede siya maging 0. 3 minus x is greater than 0. X plus 2 is greater than 0. Bakit dalawang denominator natin? Kasi dalawa ang factors. We solve for x, transpose negative 5, maging positive 5. Therefore, x is greater than or equal to 1. For the second, transpose negative x to the other side. So, magiging x is less than 3. Then, transpose positive 2 to the other side. X is greater than negative 2. For case 2, dapat lahat siya negative. Pero sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag ginawa mo siya lahat negative, negative na ang sagot. Hindi naman pwede. So, greater than ito, dapat dalawa lang ang negative. So, if you notice, if the numerator is negative, ang denominator dapat natin, ang isa negative, ang isa positive. Okay? Or, yung isa na dapat, if the numerator is negative, yung first factor sa denominator ang negative. And the second factor ay positive. Kaya, yung case to, nahati sa dalawa. The denominator, the first factor is positive, while the second factor is negative. Kasi pag nag-divide na tayo, negative divide negative, positive na siya. While here, negative divide positive na siya. Okay, now, kung ang numerator negative, so therefore x is less than or equal to 1. Pareho dito, x is less than or equal to 1. The first factor is positive, therefore 3 minus x is greater than 0. When you transpose 3 to the other side, maging negative 3, dividing both sides by negative, change the relation symbol. That is why x is less than 3. While this, less than, so x plus 2 is less than 0, so x is less than negative 2. So, yung isa, yung negative d, so 3 minus x is less than 0. Therefore, when you transpose negative x to the other side, maging positive. That's greater than 3. While this, positive siya, meaning greater than, so x is greater than negative 2. Getting all the intersection, for the first, ang intersection natin, greater than or equal to 1, less than 3, greater than negative 2. So that the intersection or common to these 3 is from 1 to 3, 1 is included. So meaning, so dadaan siya, this is half closed. While here, ang common ay x is less than negative 2. Dito sa case na to ay wala. Wala siyang common. Ito is greater than or equal to 1. Wala siyang common. Yung dalawa may common, pero yung isa wala. So, as the solution set, you just get the union of this. That is, x is less than negative 2 or x is less than 3 but greater than or equal to 1. Or in interval notation, we have half closed interval from 1 to 3 union, open interval from negative infinity to negative 2. Okay, for your info, the next video is on additional exercises on solving rational inequalities, applying this fastest technique and the step-by-step process as a mix or as combination. Thank you.